Hi there, Steve Hopkins, your head coach, coming back to you in our series about accountability, self-accountability, and indispensability, right? We've spent a couple videos and lessons on some of that verbiage in an intro video, and then took the first step forward in talking a little bit about intention, right? Just casting that vision a little bit. What's the plan? What's your hope? What is the focus of what you're trying to produce? Trying to build the experience that you want to have for yourself, for your teams, whatever the setting might be. So today we're going to carry on with that. We're going to spend a little bit of time in the bottom half of this this model and what we call the victim loop. All right, and that just means that even after we focus on intention, we can still make choices on the other end of that when we're confronted with situations. What happens on the other side? Do we press forward into accountability and ownership and pivot and respond to those things in a positive way? Or do we fall prey to being a victim of the external circumstances that we are living in and things that happen to us, right? We do our best as far as planning, and then it all kind of goes south on us, right? And it could be external situations, could be other people we're working with, could be our own effort even that kind of runs us astray, right? But we have choices. We have choices at that moment, what we're going to do. And we're going to spend a little bit of time understanding the call signs of the bottom end of the loop, the victim loop, all right? And we want to be aware that this happens to all of us, myself included, just so we can focus on, hey, I acknowledge I'm in the space I don't want to be because nothing good comes of that. I got to find a way back up on the top. And we'll dive deeper into the top half of this model. So that's all about what we want to do to respond to maybe being in the victim loop, or just proactively how to stay up there. All right. The more time we practice this, the more time we spend naturally up in the upper part of this, being accountable, being indispensable. Okay, even when tough things happen, unexpected things happen. So let's go through a couple of our trigger key call signs that let us know we're in the wrong place. All right, and we'll just work on building awareness with this video. The following videos will talk about how to get out of that and how to stay out of it. All right, so the first one is ignoring. So again, this is when unexpected negative things happen, even with our best intention, even with our best focus, our best planning. Something negative. The first thing that happens is we ignore it. We don't really draw attention to what we heard that is actually true, what we saw actually happened. We kind of just buy some time and kind of ignore it. I didn't really see that happen, or I don't really believe that happened, or that's not happening currently, what have you. And that usually leads then to the mature version of ignore, which is to deny it. So flat out, somebody says, "Hey, did you see it?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see it. I don't think anything's going on." Right? I think we're still on track. I think we're still acting through our intention. All right, we deny it. All right, and that one sometimes can be a little bit weird. You might know some people that are deniers. You know, the problem's not really there. The real thing's not really there. Could be a situation. That usually leads, though, to the telltale one that is, I think, most important. The most important one, which is blaming. All right, I want to draw special attention to this because this is our best mechanism to be alert for when we hear this. We know we're not in the right place. All right, blame and accountability don't coexist at all. All right, and so when we hear that, when we say it to ourselves, when we're about ready to think about it, when we say it or we hear others say it, we can know for sure. Blame, all right, blame is in the victim loop. Blame is trying to place responsibility and accountability on somebody else. It's their fault. It's COVID's fault. It's the economy's fault. It's the CEO's fault. My team member let me down. Of course I couldn't succeed. It's their fault. Blame. Okay, blame. Blame is physically trying to pass the baton on to somebody else, excuse ourselves from accountability, from responsibility, from ownership, and give it to somebody else. All right, and there's nothing good that happens with us being in charge, and this doesn't mean preventing all bad things happening. This means what we do after that happens, right? And just surrendering our responsibility puts us in the victim loop, and from that continues to spiral, and no action gets done, right? We're just trying to pass the baton, ignore, we're trying to blame, We're trying to deny, and even go to the next degree. Things like rationalize, resist other people kind of prompting us. You'll see people start to defend themselves often, right? And when responsibility and accountability really get pressed on us, and we've kind of let this spiral through victim, we'll even get to a point where we're trying to hide it. Like, I'm going to hide the facts. I don't know if you've ever confronted an employee that for a while was just kind of burying bad outcome and trying to kind of stow it away or hide from it. That's the worst case, because then we're getting into deceit and lies. All right? But it starts out very, very insidiously, all right, with something as simple as looking and not really seeing the signs of it, not seeing a bad outcome. I'm going to just ignore it, all right? But I want to draw special attention to blame, all right? And so the homework assignment with this video is for yourself to recall in the past week if you ever caught yourself blaming somebody or something, all right? And this upcoming week for you to really journal about that. Really stay on alert for when you get into blame moments, all right? And it could be overt. I did blame somebody. I verbally blamed somebody, or I was thinking it, and I didn't say it, but I was thinking it. Mentally, we get into a blame state. Mentally, we get in the victim loop, even if we don't act on it, all right? And it's just as bad because it leads to actions. Okay, so the first step to all of this, of course, is just our own awareness. If we are aware that it happens, we can be empathetic once we start working with teams down the road and saying, I'm seeing and feeling and hearing blame. And we don't do blame here. We've learned a better path about accountability, and we'll get to that. But the first thing is just recognizing that it's real, it happens to us, and we want to be aware of it when it happens. Okay? So that's the homework assignment for the next week, is just journal about that a little bit. We'll follow up with following videos of, okay, Steve, you caught me. I've gotten into blame. I've been blaming in my head. I've been blaming with my voice. I've had some small ones, some big ones, whatever. Write those occurrences down and just remind yourself, when this happened, I blame so-and-so for what transpired. All right? That gets us in a very strong position to say, okay, now what? Help me now, Steve, know what to do when I'm in those situations. What's my next step? How do I get out of it? Because remember, we have a choice with intention. All right? When unexpected things happen, all right, events, situations happen, we have a choice. What are we going to do next? And I'll give you a couple tools of what to action to push against the antidote to blame, which will jettison you up into this top part and we start the loop. Make no mistake, we're not compromising. We have work to do. All right, when unexpected things happen, we're going to have to replan. We're going to have to recommit to intention. We're going to have to come up with some new ideas maybe, because what we tried didn't work. And sometimes just facing that is the important step. So there is work ahead, I promise you. But let's get on the right track, get out of blame, and do the next thing that gets us out. All right? So journal about blame. This will be awesome. Share some stories if you have some questions. Reach out to me if you want to discuss something. Tell me if you're having trouble even getting across this whole blame idea. All right? Let me know. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video of accountability.